Welcome back. So today we're gonna go ahead and create our IO or input-output header. Before we do so, I've actually tried compiling the code a couple of times and noticed that there are some errors in the code. They're minor errors, no big deal. So just go into helper if you've been following along and do this. Include f stream. We need it due to this fact here. I don't know, I probably forgot or something like that. Doesn't really matter. And now we need to go into base 64, and I did forget to place a semicolon here and here. You can press, actually all of these headers, if you want to try it out for yourselves, you need to include them into main, as I have here. You see there are 3 of them. And just press Ctrl S to save, and then press F9 to run. Yeah. So, yep. End it. Sorry. It's already been running. My sincere apologies. Let's go ahead and run it now. There you go. It runs without any problems. It works. Just to confirm, it's nice to do these builds even though you don't have any red lines. I mean, it's helpful because you don't want to go back through the finished code and compile it only once at the end. Remember to kill your keylogger.exe in the task manager. So just go ahead and end the process here. Terminate it. You can feel free to leave these 3 included here if you like or not. Doesn't really matter. Later on we will go through main one more time, if I'm not mistaken, just to add a few more things here to make this fully functional. Okay, so now we need to go onto File, New, Empty File, as before, yes, and this one shall be called io.h. Let's go ahead and save it. Okay. So you see we're already making good progress. We have base 64, header, helper, IO, key constants. Well, IO we're just about to write, but at the end of the day, we'll actually, at the end of this tutorial, we should have pretty much a solid 4 headers, and then not a lot more remains. 3 more to add onto this, and we will be pretty much done with this keylogger at this point of time, which will be functional and will be amazing. Okay, so this IO header, this is where we will store all the functions that will be used for input-output operations, like creating files, reading from them, finding paths, etc. As before, let's implement our guard. If and def IO underline H. Brilliant. There we go. Define IO underline H. And let's go forward. So, include shall definitely require string lib and include cstd lib. We'll definitely need this as well. So this is the standard library in C where we will use it for the get environment function or getenv function. You'll see what it is used in a moment. That'll be one of the first things that we shall actually utilize here. Next up, we need to type in include windows.h, and this is actually quote marks. After that, it shall be. After this, we need to include 2 headers that we ourselves have written. So include helper.h. There we go. And base 64. So include base 64. And finally, the library that I have forgotten to include later on in one of the previous headers that I've showed you at the beginning of this tutorial, that would be fstream. So we need to also type in include fstream. Fantastic. So now we have all of them lined up here. Windows.h, that is the Windows API. We will need access to the functions from that header. We will need them pretty badly too. Anyway, let's begin by making our own namespace straight away. So just type in namespace IO. And the very first function that we will create here will be the function to retrieve our designated folder where all the logs, screenshots, audio, video recordings will be. Screenshots, audio, video, this will not be implemented in this initial version of the keylogger, but I have plans to implement that. No promises on the video and audio logs, but there is a possibility I'm working on that code to actually make it doable. However, the screenshots should be practically a guaranteed thing. Should be. Anyway, let's go ahead and continue. std : string get our path bool append underline separator equals false. Did I do this right? Of course not. Typical me. Okay. There we go. So what happens with the parameter that is passed to this function getOurPath? It's the constant bool append separator equals false, meaning that it just checks if the backslash is needed at the end of our path. If it's needed, it can be added. If it's not needed, then there's no need to add it. Simple as that. Now, our path where the log files will be stored is app data section, which is it's basically here. So C:\/ users / your username, whatever that might be, and up data / roaming. Yep, there we go. So this is where the files will go, and we will additionally hide it by placing it in Microsoft /CLR folder. Should be relatively hidden there. Just think about it yourselves. How often do you actually go into that folder? I mean, I've used Windows a long time ago. I don't really ever remember going here. Not really something that was important. Anyway, we will need to use the following. So std string app data underline dir get environment and up data here. Okay, so this string app data dir get environment app data, this will actually get the environmental variable which contains the app data directory, which is very nice for us because we can get it without searching for it too much. This is the directory for the current user. The function getEnv is used to basically stands for get environment, and app data is an environment variable, so it contains a value. That value is a path, and that path we need. Not much thinking required there. Okay, so let's go down below and type in std string full equals app data underline dir plus, and now we shall add on this the Microsoft CLR. Okay, Microsoft CLR. Excellent. So this will we need something to optionally add the backslash to the end, and that is what the following condition will do, and we've actually placed it in the return statement. The code is shorter that way. Return full plus, so the full contains our full path to the folder that we want to place the logs, files, etc. in. And let's go ahead and type in append underline rate separator question mark. I got it right this time, the quote marks. And yep, there we go. So that should be it. Anyway, we just made an if statement. If the append separator is false, if it's true, then we will actually do this. But if it's false, we will do this. So if it's necessary, we can add a backslash at the end. If it's not necessary, we don't need to add anything. If you're wondering why we have 2 backslashes here, well, backslash is an escape character, so you always need to have 2 in order to get 1. Let's put it like that, shall we? Okay, so next up will be the function for actually making a directory. So let's go ahead and go down below. We're still going to stay within the same namespace. And here, let's start typing it. So bool mk1dr. Okay, there we go. std string path. This is what we need. I don't know why I keep hitting the additional enter, but yeah. Anyway, the Windows API function create directory creates a directory and returns true on success. Otherwise, it may return error already exists. If the directory is already created, or if the path cannot be found, if the call was unsuccessful. So for us, this is pretty much an okay situation because that directory has been created some time ago or right now, whatever, it doesn't really matter. What is important is that it does exist. So it will exit after the function call. This function will not create subdirectories if they don't exist. So we have to create one by one ourselves. Anyway, let's just go ahead and write it. It's a fairly short function, just has you can place everything within the return statement. Like this. Create directory and then path dot c there we go, str comma null. Then we shall use the logical or, and we can go down to actually make it a little bit more readable. And get last error. If this last error is equal to this function will just get the last error that happened, and if it is equal to error already exists. There we go. If it is equal to error already exists, well, that's fine as well. So it's either this will happen or this will happen, which is either way, it's good for us. It either gets created or it already exists, which makes no difference to us as long as the directory is there so we can actually use it to write things into it. Anyway, gonna cut the tutorial here and we'll continue on in part 2 of this mini subchapter, so to say.